So apparently there was only one arrest in Boston after the Super Bowl, and that was of a Rams fan. So Boston's pretty well behaved. Is that normal in Boston after the Patriots or the Red Sox win? There aren't any arrests? Because that's certainly not how it is in Philadelphia. I think it's even how it is in Los Angeles or even Vancouver. Woo! So it speaks well to the character of Boston that a bunch of people aren't getting arrested. Then what else stuck out about that game yesterday? There's that degenerate ad for a car or an SUV that featured some woman who plays safety, and apparently she got a football scholarship. She's like 135 pounds, and she's playing safety for some East Los Angeles, either high school or college. Ridiculous, right? 200-pound running back goes through her. I think there was several ads like saying that women should be playing football. I mean, how degenerate is that? You don't want women playing tackle football. Women aren't built for that. Women get injured an incredible amount just playing soccer, like far more than men. Women are not built to play competitive sports. And I actually don't mind watching World Cup women's soccer, a little bit of it. I find it fun, but women aren't built for it. I mean, they get injured far more severely, far more often than men do. And it just seems incredibly degenerate to try to push that on that women should be out there like getting hurt, all right? Getting beaten up just like men, really? That's what you want? And then there were those ridiculous NFL public service announcements showing NFL players getting guided around some civil rights museum in Atlanta led by some female clergy relative of Dr. Martin Luther King. I mean, that was ridiculous. And then there were these like various PSAs on sentencing reform and juvenile justice sentencing reform. Like, really, who wants NFL players giving guidance on criminal justice reform, sentencing reform, juvenile sentencing reform? Incredibly degenerate to think that we're going to learn from football players, okay? You know, all these brain damaged football players are going to guide us on how to properly carry out juvenile criminal sentencing reform. And then will Tom Brady go to the White House, right? When I assume the team's going to go to the White House, and Tom Brady's friends with President Trump. Bill Belichick is friends with President Trump, and Robert Kraft, the New England Patriots owner, is friends with President Trump. But last year, Brady wouldn't go because he didn't want to upset his wife. My car sounds noisy. I wonder why my car is noisy. So I see this all the time. Men who are scared to death of their wives. Can you believe Tom Brady's not going to go to the White House because he's scared of his wife? I just can't imagine that, going around in life scared. And the chat says that Tom Brady went totally vegan for gazelle. Yeah, that seems a bit weird. But I have a friend in the Orthodox Jewish community who has the type of marriage I'd like to have. He says his wife would never dare vote contrary to his wishes. So yeah, I'd certainly like to think that. I mean, who wants to be in a marriage where you have opposite political views? Or where your wife would feel free to hector you or to punish you or to withhold sex because of your political views? Or you go around in fear of your wife, your wife's anger over your politics. I mean, is Tom Brady really going to avoid going to the White House again because his wife will get mad at him? Ugh. I just see this so often. Like, men are just frequently scared of their wives. And I don't have any expertise here. I've never been married, right? Nobody here looks at me and thinks that I'm an expert in anything. It's just not the kind of life that I want for myself. I do want a wife, I do want kids, but I don't want to walk around scared of my wife. Okay, I don't want to, oh, I can't go to the White House because my wife won't approve. And that's the thing, when you get really attached to people, that increases your stimulus, your incentive for selling yourself out. Like, oh, you know, my relationship with my wife is so important. I don't want any unnecessary conflict with my wife. So therefore, I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z. And so you sell out who you are, and then naturally your wife will cease to be attracted to you because she married you for who you are. Then if you sell yourself out to try to avoid conflict with your wife, it wouldn't be surprising if she would lose attraction for you if you cuck simply to avoid conflict. But it's like that in all our important relationships. When someone becomes really important to you, particularly in a spouse relationship, you encounter this enormous incentive to sell yourself out, right? To give up who you are to avoid conflict, right? Who wants conflict with their spouse? Men particularly don't want conflict with their spouse. So they just sell out who they are, they give up who they are, they try to hide who they are to avoid the conflict. And when you just sell out who you are, you're considerably diminished, and your spouse, in all likelihood, inevitably is going to lose attraction for you because you've sold out who you are. But it's like that to a lesser degree in all our important relationships. You have a really good friend, and to maintain the friendship, you sell out who you are. And that's not going to work either, right? So I'd like to think that marriage would not involve me walking around scared to death of my wife, denying who I am, what I'm interested in, what I'm about, what my values are. So I absolutely think that, of course, you need to compromise. So we're talking about differentiation here. Okay, that's the ability to hold on to yourself while staying in your religious community. Very important. But of course, the more important it becomes to you, the more incentive you have to sell yourself out and to just give up who you are and what you're interested in for the sake of getting along and avoiding conflict. But when you sell yourself out, like a little bit of you dies inside. So if you clear-headed make a compromise, okay, you want to watch a movie with your wife, but she doesn't want to watch the movie you want to watch, but the movie she wants to watch, okay, you're willing to go along with it because you just want a nice quiet evening with your spouse. Yeah, I mean, of course you need to make compromises, but there are two easy ways of falling off on this dilemma, I think. So one easy way is to just deny the importance of relationships and just have the attitude, I'm just going to do what's important to me, I'm never going to sell myself out. And that way you're just always putting yourself first, and you're not giving your relationship sufficient importance. So you should definitely take other people into consideration. On the other hand, you just consistently sell out who you are just to avoid conflict and to get along with others. I think both of these solutions are losers, because differentiation's the ability to hold on to yourself when other people can't prop you up, okay? when your wife can't tell you that you're awesome, when your friends are getting tired of emotionally propping you up, but you're able to hold on to yourself instead of depending on others to emotionally prop you up. And that way you pursue what's important to you. At the same time, you take into consideration the needs, desires of the people who are important to you. And you knowingly, willingly compromise. But to just sell yourself out or to just deny the importance of your relationships, I think they both seem like losing solutions. Okay, what else was important about the Super Bowl? Just all the preaching ads. Like, woke capital is just so much lined up on one side of the political equation. Like the ads were either politically neutral, which is half of them to 2/3, and then the rest were just pause ridden. Like pushing, glorifying women playing football. There were several ads like that, which is ridiculous. And this notion that women can do anything that men can do is silly. Men and women have different gifts. Different races have different gifts. It's silly to expect African Americans to perform as well at law or medicine or dentistry or accounting as Jews. It's silly to expect Jews to perform as well at playing basketball or football or running 100-meter sprints as blacks. It's silly to expect Jews to dance as well as blacks. It's like we all have different gifts, and that Google ad, like always pushing the diversity. Ugh. Diversity destroys human connection. It destroys social bonds. It destroys trust. I have no problem believing that there are advantages to diversity, but there are also severe disadvantages. And there are advantages for whom? And there are disadvantages for whom? These things are complicated. So it was great to see a disciplined team like the New England Patriots win out over the more talented team. I did enjoy that. I mean, there was no doubt that New England was the better team. They were driving the ball up and down the field in the first half. Only scored one field goal. Definitely the best team won. But it's just so one-sided, the commercials. I mean, I'm stunned that Nike got away with that Colin Kaepernick campaign. You would think that would turn average Americans against them, but I guess average Americans don't buy Nike, or they're not sufficiently turned off by the Colin Kaepernick ad to stop buying Nike. And then the Gillette ad about toxic masculinity, you'd think average Americans would just revolt against that. But apparently the money is all on the side of woke capital. And the people who vote for Trump, apparently not nearly as affluent as the type of people who voted for Hillary. So we have a very one-sided news media, one-sided ad campaigns. Seems like the elites are primarily lined up against us. And Breitbart had a good article on how YouTube and Google and Facebook, they just depend on one left-wing journalist emailing them, hey, how come there are so many pro-life results in Google when you Google abortion? So Google just goes and automatically changes its algorithm. So, because one left-wing journalist can then contact all the advertisers for Breitbart, or somehow one left-wing journalist gets immediate attention from places like YouTube and Google. Breitbart's lost much of its advertising because of these very effective woke capital left-wing